back to another episode of Agree to Disagree Sports Pod. I'm Sam Capola, joined by Aidan Totten. Today is Wednesday, August 16th, and folks, today we got a very action-packed episode for you guys tonight. And we're going to start off with a little NBA chatter, move into some soccer, NHL free agency, and end it off with a little BMW Classic golf chatter. So without further ado, let's get started.
All right, ladies and gents, we are starting out with a little basketball talk. Over the course of this last week or so, the 76ers have been the buzz of of the offseason. So, Daryl Morey and James Harden used to be like this. Used to be best of friends, but now they've split apart. And I just want to kind of go over everything that's happened. So, the other day I saw on Bleacher Report this graphic. And in my notes, I have what the fuck is wrong with the 76ers. So it goes from 2017 to 2023. So 2017, they traded for the first overall pick and drafted Markelle Fultz out of Washington over JT. And obviously, we see how that panned out.
I forgot how solid of a draft class that was.
I mean, yeah, Markelle Fultz coming out of college, he averaged like 20 points a game.
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
He was nice. It said they had JT.
There was,
who else was in there?
but there was Lonzo, De'Aaron Fox.
Bam was
there were some big names in there they passed up.
I know.
Yeah, Bam was in that class.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, over the span of 2 seasons, though, Fultz only played in 33 games.
Yeah, Fultz's span with the 76ers was not ideal at all. Like,
I was
him, Simmons, and Embiid were supposed to be like this godlike trio, and then they all just done.
I was looking. He only averaged 7.7 points on 41.4% shooting from the floor, 3.4 rebounds, and 3.4 assists in those 33 games with the Sixers. So, nothing really crazy there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. He lost his ability to shoot completely.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with that
you could see in his free
thoracic outlet syndrome.
Yeah.
He got some type of diagnosis, and he had to completely change his jump shot.
Yeah, it was great. I felt so bad for him. He was awesome at Washington.
But yeah, then now eventually was sent over to the Magic.
And his career has, I would say, been revived or is on the precipice of being a full career revival. I'm really glad for him that he's he's going. And then 2018 we have the GM Twitter controversy, which you might not know what this was.
I looked into it today. Yeah.
I don't remember who their GM was, but he made a burn.
Brian Cullen Gilo.
And he was shit talking Joel Embiid to hell and back.
Yeah, it was crazy. The NBA found 5 Twitter accounts, but only one he was only found guilty of one of those accounts.
Yeah.
But I bet no chance only one of those was his.
Yeah. It's like that.
And apparently his wife was a big part of this whole thing.
Yeah, you're right. It's
crazy.
So
they were just
stupid.
Pretty much just criticizing Embiid and Fultz and kind of just spreading sensitive information about the team.
Yeah, and on top of letting Joel Embiid fucking have it. So next on this little graphic is 2019. They traded Jimmy Butler after they took. So it was like that 76ers lineup that Simmons, Embiid, Harris, Jimmy Butler. I don't know. I think Al Horford might have been on that roster. He might have been with the Celtics. I don't remember when Al Horford went back. But regardless, that was a good team. If they had a year to win it, that was the year. But obviously, with Kawhi Leonard, that shot, we all know what happened.
That trade, the Jimmy Butler trade, was 4-team deal. It was between Heat, Sixers, the Clippers, and the Trailblazers.
The Heat got
along with Jimmy Butler. Did the Sixers get anyone else?
The Sixers got Josh Richardson. I'm pretty sure that was what.
Oh, you're right.
Got
Yeah.
Out of that, so it was a loss, a huge loss, and they'd come to regret it. Obviously, losing Jimmy in the playoffs, just freaking.
Butler, he didn't have a terrible. I was looking up his stats the one season he played with the Sixers. He had a pretty good season.
Yeah, he was good. He was great.
He played 55 games, 18.7 points, 5.3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.9 steals, and he shot 46.7% overall and 34.7% from three. So that's a solid season.
Yeah. And then
I don't know. Kind of
on this
Inter-
list.
interesting. I don't really understand why they would send him out after that type of season.
I mean, and then after that, they gave Tobias Harris a monster contract that
Yeah,
is still locked up
yeah,
to this fucking day.
yeah. So I don't know. But what was next?
This was after the Celtics swept them, and
Yep, he was fired. That he got what's the coach's name?
Brett
Brett
Brown.
Brown
Brett Brown got
was
fired. They hired
fired.
Doc Rivers, and they
It
brought
was the
in
day after. It was the one day after being swept.
yeah, they brought in Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
And then next year they lose to the Hawks, and Ben Simmons demands a trade, and that saga went down. I mean, Ben Simmons. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Ben, but
Mhm.
I kind of feel like he wasn't a great player. I'd say he was a fun player. He
Yeah.
didn't shoot the threes. He wasn't like really like he had flashy passes. He could play good defense,
Yeah.
and he'd get a cool dunk every once in a while. But
Yeah.
I feel bad.
I'm not I'm not the biggest fan of him either. But yeah, you gotta feel bad because I was looking into this more today. In that game 7 against the Hawks, which should have been for sure easy series for the Sixers. The Hawks upset the Knicks, I believe,
Yes,
earlier
the
in the
first
first
round
round. Yeah.
was the Knicks. Then it was the
Pretty
Sixers.
much late in Game 7, Simmons had a wide open dunk that he passed up,
They
and he
on
got
Trey Young,
so much.
and he
Yeah,
passed it up.
he got so much backlash from the. I
It was
saw
crazy.
I have to find it in my notes. In a press conference of the game, Doc Rivers was asked if Simmons could be a point guard that could lead a team to an NBA
Didn't
championship,
he
and
say
he
like
said
I don't
he
know?
yeah, he says I'm not really sure. And then also in Embiid's press conference, they were asked like, what do you think the most defining moment of this game was? And he said Simmons passing up that easy dunk was
Yeah.
definitely what teetered the game not in their favor.
Like
So
when
I
your own
mean,
teammates and coaches are saying
yeah,
shit about you, it's time to pack it up.
and he also was getting so much hate. He was shooting terribly from the line that whole
Yeah.
series. He shot
Like Hack a Ben was
thing
a
or
thing. Hack a Ben was a thing.
32.7% from the foul line in the Hawks series.
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of sucks is like the Sixers and Ben Simmons had a great year. They
Yeah,
were first
they're a
they got first
great
in the East,
yeah.
went
Great
49 and
preseason
20,
team.
49-23.
Beat the Wizards in the first round
Yeah.
handily. It's just,
Simmons had an all-star. He made the all-star team. I'm
yeah,
pretty
him
sure had an
didn't
all-star season.
him and Joel Embiid made the All Star team, and I'm pretty sure they both didn't play because of COVID. Because I know Ben Simmons was getting a haircut and he got COVID or something. It was one of those like it was a
Yeah.
yikes.
Simmons was a contention for defensive player of the year.
Hmm.
I just pulled up his stats from that season. 14.3 points, 7.2 rebounds, 6.9 assists, and 1.6 steals per game, which is a solid season.
I'm sure he averaged like a little under a block or a block at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they won that first series against the Wizards, like you said. In Game 2, I think he had like 22 points. So wasn't playing bad at all. Kind of, yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Ben Simmons, but you gotta feel bad for him a little
Yeah.
bit. Kind of got a shit ton of backlash after that. What could have been a Game 7 winner, but I don't know. And then eventually it was all just turned to a shit show. Doesn't come to training camp. Starts saying he's not mentally prepared to play. He gets suspended. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then
And they were still
now
paying him.
he gets traded to Brooklyn, and
Hasn't
here
been
we
the
are.
same. Yeah.
Yeah,
In 2022, we have subject of NBA investigation. I'm not really sure what this was. I think this was like some with tampering. This would
yeah.
be my best guess.
They were talking to PJ Tucker and
Before
Daniel House and
before
free agency, yeah,
yeah,
like way
before it
too early.
started.
And the thing that was kind of weird is Harden took like a $14 million pay cut when he signed with the Sixers,
Yeah.
just so they could also sign these other two guys. But then they eventually got in
You know
trouble.
why Harden took that pay cut so they could specifically bring in those guys. He was
Yeah,
like because PJ Tucker obviously was played on the Rockets. He played center that one
yeah.
year. It was like so, and then lastly, 2023, James Harden demanded a trade. So
And they lost their 2023-2024 second round picks.
yeah, from that
So
tampering thing.
that obviously doesn't help you at all. So, just the Sixers doing what the Sixers do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they've
Like
been
they're just not helping themselves at all whatsoever.
they're the most dramatic franchise like
Yeah.
in sports through through anything. And
Yeah.
lastly, the bulk of what this episode is going to holy shit. The bulk of what this episode is going to be about James Harden demanding a trade. So,
Yeah.
James Harden demanded a trade from the Sixers, and he said when he was in China, he said Daryl Morey's a liar, and I will not be a part of any organization that he is in. And he repeated it because
Yeah.
when it came out, I thought it was like some of that you fucking butt crack sports, like some fucking stupid shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he said, let me reiterate. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will not be a part of any organization
Yeah.
he is in.
Bro is not stuttering.
So, I think why he's calling them liars is James wanted a contract.
Yes.
They didn't give him what he wanted, and when he opted into his player option, like after I think when they lost to the Heat, when the Heat were the 1 seed, he was like, okay, I'll opt in, and then let me, I'll pay me back when it's all said and done. So obviously they lose this year, and they don't give Harden what he wants, and now he's pissed off. I mean, as he should be, because without Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid, he's always been due to miss in the playoffs, and Harden in the second round against the Celtics, I mean, he had 2 really good games and had 2 really bad games, and just like they've been all over the place. Like I don't know what else to really say about James, because obviously he's one of, if not like, I don't know, he's a top 5 basketball talent, not basketball player, basketball talent, I'd say, of all time.
I agree.
And like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. The thing that kind of, we talked about this last episode, it's kind of weird, is he was so on board to stay with the Sixers, and then just out of nowhere, he's like, "Get me the hell out of here."
Yeah,
it's kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, Harden's never been, shy to tell the whole world when he's not happy where he is.
Yeah, of course. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see how that works out. I know, obviously, all over I've seen different trade packages and trade ideas to move him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you? When I was looking online, I saw Clippers, Heat, and the Knicks kind of seem like the top 3 options
Mm-hmm.
that I saw online.
Yes, I can get these trade packages up here. Before we get into these, I wanted to say about what Daryl Morey is doing. He said, I don't know if he said, but I think it's implied that if they don't trade James, they want to bring him back.
Yeah, of course.
They don't want to let him, I don't know. And I feel like that relationship at this point is completely unsalvageable.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
Let's get into these trade packages for Harden. We'll start out with the Heat, because it's the first on this little article here from Bleacher Report. So it's James Harden to Miami Heat. The Sixers get Jaime Jaquez, Kyle Lowry, a 2024 first-round swap, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2029 first-round pick, and Heat get James Harden. And this is a world where they don't pursue Damian Lillard.
I could definitely see definitely moving Lowry and a bunch of picks around.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that. I don't know. I feel like the Heat needs to give a little bit more, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from. The thing is, I mean, Jaquez is the young talent, whatever.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry is the huge contract, and I mean, they're offering. I think that's literally all the Heat's first round picks. So
yeah,
I mean,
that's a good amount of picks.
They're offering this. I think that is the Heat's best offer, in my opinion. Or maybe Tyler Hero. You maybe throw Tyler Hero in there. Not really sure what the Heat are gonna do with him. But
I don't see them pursuing that, especially with Dame being so interested in wanting to play for them. But
I want to say about Miami and James, the Miami Heat are a really streaky offensive team, and what I mean by that is they could either be amazing or the exact opposite. And I feel like James Harden at this stage in his career, when he averages 22 and 10 and leads the league in assists every year, I feel like he's the perfect man to put next to Jimmy and Bam. So,
I like that.
Next up, we have James Harden to the Knicks. So this is a way bigger package than what the Heat were offering. So this is R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Jericho Sims, a 2024 first, and a 2026 first with top 10 protected, and the Knicks receive James Harden.
I don't know if I could see Knicks moving R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel quickly, like such young talent. And how old is James Harden?
James Harden, I think, is 33.
Okay, so he's not crazy. I don't know. And two first round picks, one of them being top 10. You said.
Yes, and one of them's top 10 protected.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little too much to be given up for James Harden, in my opinion.
Is that this is what the article says. Harden and the Knicks are a questionable fit. The same goes for New York and Philly as trade partners. The Knicks shouldn't be moving Jalen Brunson. Having him, Harden, and Julius Randle in the same rotation is all sorts of wonky. So, but as far as a trade package, regardless of fit, I would say the Sixers win this trade. Getting RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett, I'd say he's a good basketball player. Like, he's someone that you can have in your rotation, and he'd still give you quality minutes. IQ is
Yeah,
someone who can come off the bench. He was, I mean, a six man of the year candidate for like that last part of the season. Jericho Sims, I mean, he's young, not, not really too much promise in him. I mean, he can dunk, I guess, so that's cool. And then a couple picks, it's whatever. It just sweetens the deal. And lastly, which is I think where James wants to go for sure, which is
yeah.
the LA Clippers.
Clippers, yeah. That's what I've been seeing like all over.
Yeah, they Bleacher Report has two trade packages. One of them kind of is like they're both, in my opinion, pretty awful. Um,
I just don't see.
yeah,
I didn't look at these trade packages on Bleacher Report, but I don't see the Clippers moving PG or Kawhi. I just don't see it happening.
yeah, they.
And I
Oh
would
yeah, there's a
assume
third.
to make a trade for James Harden, you'd have to move one of those two players in order to get him.
Yeah, like it's just I think the ideal trade package for the Clippers is you give up Batum, but he is rumored to be retiring after this World Cup. So let's say Batum's out of the picture. You're like, what you're really wanting to give up if you're the Clippers, you want to give up Norman Powell, you want to give up Terrence Mann, you want to give up Rocco, and a couple of picks. That is like
Yeah.
your ideal trade package for James Harden. But if you're Philly, do you want Norman Powell as the best player getting back in a trade for James Harden? Like,
Nope.
yeah, that's um, yeah, I don't know. It's I think Philly is in just a really bad situation with James,
Yeah.
and like the rumors are that this is like just the beginning of the saga, and James Harden is gonna make Philly much more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
out of those
curious.
three, out of those three teams, uh, what would be your guess for where he ends up?
I would say L.A. I think L.A. is his final stop. I mean, I don't. I think the Heat are dead set on Dame because I'm
I
pretty.
agree.
That trade might take a month or another month or two to go through, but I think it's eventually in the cards. The Knicks, I just don't think the Knicks and Philly. They'll know. They hate each other, so I
Yeah.
don't ever see them trading in L.A. I mean, it's a big market, kind of. I mean, you're obviously the little brother of the Lakers all the time, so there's that.
Yeah.
But still, LA is a big market, and James has obviously voiced his opinions, and I'm pretty sure he wants to play there. So I think LA is where he goes.
I think it's pretty safe to say he's gonna make the Sixers' life hell for the next couple weeks until something changes. But
Yeah.
but staying on the path of NBA, kind of just want to talk a little bit about the in-season tournament.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
I personally, as a big soccer guy, who I love the idea of an in-season tournament. It's cool to it'll be cool to see like some of like players who usually don't get minutes. Maybe they'll get some starting minutes because
Yeah,
they're competing for a trophy and money.
yeah.
Which
It,
is
it's gonna give like the entire season that nitty-gritty playoff game feel. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
Like it's gonna make it more interesting to watch. So I'm also a big fan of this.
I think it's a really good
What
idea.
what is the so there's a trophy and there's a cash reward you said?
I think it's a $500,000 like something
So yeah, gives
something
the
like
players
that.
something to work towards. The only I've kind of been seeing it get a little bit of backlash. Like some people aren't happy with like maybe some guys getting injured
Yeah.
or stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's gonna be good for the league
I agree.
all around.
Yes, I 100%
And
agree.
I don't know, did you look at the different groups? Did you look at that at all?
They do have the. I have looked at
I
them.
have it. I have it right. I have it up right now.
All I
Some of
like,
these groups, I don't know.
they
I'm
seem
liking some.
very. Because I'm a Trailblazers fan,
Yeah,
but it's just the Blazers are in a very bad group in my opinion for them. But
yeah,
I haven't like. There's some of the groups that are going to be more competitive. I feel like
yeah.
East B with the Bucks, Knicks, and Heat. I think that could be a fun group to
West
watch.
Group A. West Group A is gonna be good too. Grizzlies, Suns, Lakers, Jazz, Trailblazers. You're
Yes,
right. They Trailblazers
the
not get a
Blazers are
good
in a
draw there.
tough spot for
Yeah,
the Blazers.
yeah. But overall, I think it's gonna be a
I think it's a
fun
cool idea.
little
It like
thing
it
to watch. Cool
yeah.
idea. I think they're giving out like an MVP trophy and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So I think it'll make the season more interesting. Uh, kind of keep everyone on their feet. Yeah, injury wise and stuff like that. Like, is it really worth it to be working these guys as much? But like, that's their job. Like,
Yeah.
it's your job to go out there and play. So I see no problem with it. I think it'll be good for the league.
I 100% agree. So to stay on the path of a little, the Sixers. Now that I think it has been 9 years that Joel Embiid has been in the league and stayed with the 76ers, is a Joel Embiid trade in the cards in the future anytime, like at all?
Hmm. I'm gonna have to go no here probably. You know, just won MVP. Doesn't seem like he has any problems with the front office or anyone else on the team. Kind of like how Harden feels.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's content in Philly. I could if Philly doesn't start making moves to help this guy out, because obviously he wants to win. Obviously,
Yeah.
so far he's had a very great career. He wants to win. He's gotten close, but if they don't in the next 1 to 3 years start giving him pieces to work with, I could see him kind of similar to a Damian Lillard situation. Want to get out of there.
Yeah. So I think you know there's been things all day about how Joel Embiid took Philly out of his Twitter bio, but that's I think how like Joel Embiid his Twitter handle is like Joel Troel Embiid like because he's like a troll or whatever. I think that
Yeah,
shit's so lame because
yeah,
you're a league MVP like what are we doing? I
yeah.
like here's my like I I kind of agree with the 1 to 3 years thing, but Philly they've put the pieces around Joel, but they've had good teams, they've had great teams, and they haven't been able to do it. They brought in certain coaches. They brought in Nick Nurse, which might have been from the influence of Joel.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what more does he want, and what more does he need? And obviously, Joel Embiid, we know he's been fiending for that MVP trophy for 3 years. So
Yeah.
when you look at his career, he's got his MVP. He's been All NBA multiple times. He's been an All Star. Been in all defensive conversations. Whatever. I mean, he's accomplished everything there is to accomplish, except win the championship. And if he
Yeah.
doesn't get what he wants, maybe it might be time for him to move on.
Start ring chasing.
Yes, and maybe do because he's not. It's not like he's young. I mean, you got
Yeah.
drafted in 2014, so it's not like he's a
Yeah.
young guy anymore.
I look
So
how old he is.
I'm pretty sure he's 29. Him and Jokic are like roughly the same age.
Yep, he's 29.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I feel like where will Joel Embiid end up if he requests a trade or like demands a trade? I have no idea. And I don't really know what the current stance on his contract is. I don't know how long he has left on his deal. So whatever it is, I feel like this might be the last contract Joel Embiid has for the Philadelphia 76ers.
So I just looked it up. Embiid is signed to a 4-year, $213 million contract.
And when did he sign it? Did they say?
Um, major extension for.
because I mean, I feel like this. I feel like he might have 2 or 3 years left on it. I'm not sure. I don't remember when he signed
It's
with
all the
the
way
Bulls.
through the 2026-2027 season.
That yes, and he'll be freaking 2026, 20. He'll be like 32, 33, something
Yeah,
around there.
so it's
So
early 30s.
he still
So
could be
yeah,
in his prime, but we know Joel Embiid is very. He's prone to an injury or two. You know,
yeah,
with he's had orbital fractures and stuff with his knee, and
yeah,
so you know I
yeah,
think I think a Joel Embiid trade could be in the cards, either after or like before,
yeah.
like shortly
The
before his contract ends.
Sixers organization could be in shambles here soon,
Yeah,
pretty much.
like they were in that process era was freaking 6 years before they like really started to lock in, and
Yeah, yeah,
so you know I
um,
feel bad for Sixers fans even though
yeah.
they're fucking
Speaking
crazy
speaking of trades, Siakam is also
in the
possibly,
yeah.
yeah, possibly in the brink of being traded. Correct?
I've seen, as far as Siakam trades go, I've seen Atlanta and I've seen Indiana, but I don't think Indiana would trade for him. But I think the Hawks. I think that could be an interesting trio. Trey Young, DeJounte Murray, and Pascal. With the
I like the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fine. As far as a deal goes, I think that deal would look like probably AJ Griffin, as he like a young, whatever. Probably DeAndre Hunter, and a couple picks.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure what else they would throw in there. Maybe I don't know if they'd throw Clint Capella in there. I wouldn't think so, but
I'd
um
like to see him go to the Hawks.
yes,
I
I
wouldn't
mean
be opposed to that.
I think it would be a cool you know cool little experiment. But I think Pascal has made it very clear he wants to stay in Toronto. But I don't know what that what
I
their
guess we'll
future
see.
holds. The Toronto
Still a
Raptors
lot.
are in NBA purgatory right now.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot going on in the NBA. But yeah, I think we're ready to move over to soccer.
I think it's time. So week 1 of the Premier League was last weekend, but we'll start off with a little Lionel Messi talk.
I like
Um,
that.
six
I like that.
goals. I mean six games, 9 goals for Inter Miami in the League's Cup, which is the MLS's like domestic trophy. And Inter
Yeah,
Miami is heading to the final, and they are currently 15th in the MLS's standings. So
that game is this Saturday, correct?
I'm pretty sure I can look, but you know, it's
Messi has
it's crazy.
single-handedly he's single-handedly made soccer in America relevant,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is crazy. Like you said, 9 goals and assists through 6 games.
6 games, and yes, that game is
That's
on Saturday.
insane.
You're right.
His goal in their last game was crazy.
Yeah, he shot it from 25 yards out and placed it in
Yeah,
the
he was
corner.
deep.
I don't know how that
Yeah,
goalie I mean, it was a really good shot, had a lot of power and placed perfectly. So I
yeah.
mean, but it's crazy the things that he does. It's I don't
You
even
think
know.
they can get it done this weekend?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think
I
they get it
agree.
done.
I agree.
Um, but not much else to talk about as far as Lionel Messi, because I mean he's
Yeah,
great. We all know it, and I just want to say this one thing. Every time you see a post about Messi, it's always about how the Saudi Arabian League is better than the MLS. And to those people who say that, I think you are the biggest batch of fucking idiots in this whole wide world. Like, they're when Messi first signed there and he's playing there, it's like, oh my god, the MLS fucking sucks. Like, who cares? It's the only soccer on right now. Like
yeah.
the Saudi Arabian League is not televised to anywhere outside of fucking Saudi Arabia. Like it's so dumb in my opinion.
Kind of staying on topic with the Saudi Arabia League. I wanted to talk about Neymar a little bit. Obviously, moving from PSG over to Al Hilal.
Heartbreak,
2-year contract,
heartbreak. 300
expected
million.
to pay an annual salary of $100 million.
Yep.
Um, I kind of just wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the Saudi Arabia Pro League. Like, what are your thoughts there? Obviously,
I
bringing Ronaldo over,
I think it's
bringing
really
Neymar
cool.
over.
I think it's cool, but I also think it is kind of ruining the sport a little bit
I
because
agree.
the only reason I because the Saudi Arabians pull all this money out of their ass and they offer these soccer players hundreds of millions of dollars to come play. But like, we shouldn't see Neymar competing for the Arab Champions League Cup. You want to see
Yeah,
him competing in Europe at the highest level.
yeah. And just a little bit ago, they offered Mbappe that big ass contract,
Oh yeah.
1 year, $700 million.
Yep.
Like that was insane.
700 million on Mbappe, and they'd give Paris Saint Germain freaking 400 million just for his release,
Yeah.
just for his exit.
I'm
It's ridiculous.
I'm pretty glad that he turned that down though.
Yeah, I think it's
Kind of.
crazy how loyal Mbappe is to Paris.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I don't
that
know.
that saga has been pretty crazy as well. If you've been like keeping up with that, seeing
Yeah.
what Mbappe's been doing. But yeah,
But
Saudi
kind of
Arabia.
another building off of the loyalty thing. Harry Maguire, all the stuff going on with him right now.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
So I'm a big Man United fan, and Harry Maguire has been a pain in my ass for the past 5 years or whatever. You bought him from Leicester for like 70 million, something like that. Like he won, Leicester won the league in like 2016, and then I think we bought him shortly after that.
He's still in contract for 2 years, I believe.
Yeah, and just a little bit ago, Man U agreed to move him to West Ham for 40 million, and the deal is on hold because Harry Maguire has not like agreed to any terms yet. And I think it's really stupid on Maguire's part because Maguire doesn't really get any real playing time anymore. Like he used to be the captain and now he rides the bench. And
Yeah,
I think it'd be beneficial for both parties to move on because the Harry Maguire has been the laughingstock of Manchester for years now. And I think like I said, I think it'd just be beneficial for him to just move on and get a change of scenery. Yeah,
it's
change of scenery into a new team
they wanted to bring in Benjamin Pavard, but they're struggling to right now because
because of
Maguire's kind of
Maguire.
holding everything up.
I think Pavard would be a good signing for them. Obviously, he's best known for that freaking banger he scored against Argentina a couple years ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, solid player, and I would like to see him in a Man U shirt. But Maguire, let's pack it up, Bucko.
yeah. So kind of skipping over this weekend, you picked out four big games that we have this weekend. You want to kind of just
Go.
go over those, give our thoughts and kind of
Yeah.
our picks for who we think is going to win this weekend.
So we have some Saturday and Sunday and a Monday game. So first off on my list, we got Man U versus Tottenham. So last week, Man U won 1-0 against Wolves. Struggled offensively, couldn't find the back of the net, but luckily Rafael Varane got a little header action at the 72-minute mark, something like that. And Tottenham played Brentford last week, and it was a pretty. I watched the game, pretty entertaining, but Tottenham they look kind of lost without Harry Kane. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that game goes. My
I
pick.
think this team. Yeah, sorry.
You're all good. My pick is going to be obviously Man U. You know, going. I think they're staying I think they might be at Old Trafford. I'm gonna look real quick just to make sure. They. Yes, I think they are. Oh no, actually no, it's at Tottenham. So it doesn't really change my opinion. But I think Tottenham is they've gotten weaker as losing their greatest goal scorer ever.
Yeah,
So you know, I think Man
I'm
U
gonna
should be able to run the tables this
I'm
weekend.
gonna agree with you. That they looked kind of lost out there losing Harry Kane, obviously.
Hmm.
Kind of looked like they were struggling offensively, but I think both teams in their games kind of showed signs of struggle offensively. But
Hmm.
with the loss of Harry Kane, I'm probably gonna I'll agree with you here and go Man United.
Yes, sir. Next game we got Man City versus Newcastle. So last game, Man City won 3-0 against Burnley, but Burnley they just got promoted from League One. They're not really a strong team, but they won 3-0. Holland scored two, and I think Rodri scored the other one. But Man City lost Kevin De Bruyne, who had 7 goals and 16 assists just in the Premier
Uh,
League last year. We
that
all
was what
know.
a hamstring injury it looked like.
I think so, and I think he's out till December. So
Yeah,
it's a
it looked like it was.
huge
I think it said
loss.
4 months. 4 months. It could be more if he has to get surgery.
Yeah. Kevin De Bruyne is a world class midfielder. His vision is out of this world, and he spoon feeds Holland. Spoon feeds Holland absolutely. And I'm curious to see how they do against a Newcastle team that
Yeah.
brought in Sandro Tonali from AC Milan, who was pretty decent last season. He's a younger player, scored in his debut game, and 4-1 win last week against Aston Villa. So I'm curious to see how this game will play out. As far as a
I,
pick, I'm I think Newcastle make the upset here.
yeah. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think Man City's gonna kind of be all over the place. Obviously, losing one of your best players doesn't help the situation. And didn't Man City just win some type of
They
tournament or
won.
trophy?
They say that today they just won
Type of
the
like
Super Cup against
Super Cup? Yeah.
Sevilla.
I mean, I don't know. They got momentum. Actually, I'm probably gonna go Man City here. They got momentum coming
Yes,
out of that game.
it's hard to bet against Man City, but I feel like
Yeah,
without one of their strongest players against a team, I like Newcastle. I think they're like they're like a young gritty team kind of,
yeah, for
which
sure.
which I like. But it's hard. It's hard. It's gonna be hard to win against a team like without you know a guy bossing the midfield the whole game.
Yeah, for sure.
So a little split action here, and I like that. Like to have the little debate or whatever. So
Hmm.
next we have Chelsea versus West Ham. I have my notes here. A new Chelsea team coming off a draw last week against Liverpool will be relying heavily on Enzo Fernandez as they take on a weaker side, but a competitive side nonetheless in West Ham. Last weekend, West Ham drew 1-1 with Bournemouth. That game was pretty boring. It was two good
Yeah,
goals, but Chelsea they played a really tough game against Liverpool, and I don't really know. I think I'm gonna take Chelsea just because like the fact that Enzo Fernandez he played in the World Cup. He's an Argentinian. He's a young player signed for a huge deal at Chelsea. He's
yeah.
absolutely fantastic, and I'm thinking Chelsea should be on the winning end of this game.
They also brought in what's his name?
Casado.
Romeo Lavia.
And
Is
yes,
that his
and
name?
him.
Is that how
Say
you
they
say it?
brought in
Yeah,
Casado and that Lavia. I'm not really sure where Lavia is from, but I know Casado. That was a huge deal. 100 and I think 40 million for him from Brighton, and he's a good player. Is he worth
yeah,
that? Absolutely not, in my opinion.
yeah.
Absolutely not. But
You think they overpaid him?
oh, 100%. Still a good player. I think he'll help though. So I'm excited to see what he can do. But for this game, I'm gonna go Chelsea. But I feel like
Yeah,
this might be a thin margin.
yeah. Both teams coming off of 1-1 draws last game. Obviously, you said Chelsea with a couple of good signings. I'm thinking this is going to be a no-brainer, easy win for Chelsea. Chelsea. So, in my opinion.
And our last game of our little, you know, whatever you want to call this segment, we have Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. So Arsenal played Nottingham Forest last week. 2-1 win, very dominant in the midfield, passing a lot, had most of the possession, got a lot of shots off. But Palace, they were pretty dominant in the one last week, had most of the possession, but they couldn't find the back of the net as they drew to Sheffield, I'm pretty sure. Or no, they won. What am I talking about? Yes, they won 1-0. But yeah, a lot of shots on goal, but could not find the back of the net. And when you play a team like
Yeah,
Arsenal, who's obviously one of the top teams in the Premier League, you need to score. And
yeah. I'm not. I'm
Crystal
not.
Palace are always known for these like big upsets. They're
Yeah,
always like
yeah,
they're they're a fun team to put up against these like huge European giants or whatever the fans call them.
for sure. Yeah. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but Aiden's starting to get me into it a little
Oh
bit. But
yeah,
I actually did watch this game, and Arsenal's last game, yeah, like you said, was very dominant performance. I looked at the stats later. They had 79% possession time,
yeah,
which is
that's
insane. That's insane.
crazy.
And this Crystal Palace team, their last game, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but watch the highlights. They struggled to put the ball in the back of the net. So I think Arsenal showed such dominance in their last game. I'm gonna easily take them here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Arsenal as well, and that wraps up our little weekend roundup of games, which are in my
Yeah.
opinion the best games from the Premier League this weekend. And
Yeah.
now we'll
Tuesday, we'll check out we'll try and see how well we did with
how we say how well we
our
did.
picks on Tuesday. But now kind of switching over to NHL. You know,
Yeah, so this is more Bones'
playoffs.
department.
Yeah, yeah. Playoffs been over for a couple months now. Vegas obviously with a demanding 5-game win. Um, was honestly pretty surprised that the Panthers made it so far and swept Carolina in the semifinals.
Hmm.
You can obviously tell that this Panthers team is worn down and Vegas kind of just had some
Had their
time to
way.
rest and just had their way with them. So, but enough with playoffs. Kind of want to get into a little bit of free agency action. Um, kind of in my notes here, just have some of the biggest signings. Kind of just want to go over those. We'll give our feelings towards those signings and maybe talk a little bit of trade talk at the end. So to start, I got Orlov to the Hurricanes. He signed 2 years, $15.5 million. Um, I think this is a great pickup for the Hurricanes. They're already a very talented team, and bringing in a guy like Orlov to kind of round your defense off is a great move. Bringing it in for nothing too crazy either. And honestly, Carolina is kind of my dark horse to win the cup next year.
You think so?
Yeah, I was honestly, like I said, very surprised
Yeah.
that the Panthers swept them
It was cool to
this year
see
in the playoffs.
Two Florida teams who were very low
Yeah,
seeds make it all the way to the
yeah,
finals.
yeah, it was cool. But after that, we had the Stars brought in Matt Duchene. The Preds very expensively bought out the final
Duchene's
3 years
older,
of his.
right? Because he
Yeah, he's older.
where did he
He's been
used
in
to
the league for
play?
a while.
Where did he used to play in?
Duchene.
I feel like
I believe
he
he
was
was with, I want to say, the Avalanche for a while.
okay. I might be getting him confused with someone else. I like hockey. I mean,
I know he was.
we
I know
both
he was with
play
Ottawa
hockey,
for a
but
while.
this isn't my shit.
Yeah, so he was with. Look here. I know he's with Ottawa. He's been with Nashville the past couple of years. Mm-mm-mm.
Like if I knew anything, like I knew that the Knights were good. I thought Carolina was supposed to win it all last year. If I'm being completely honest with you,
Yeah,
because I thought they were like you know
yeah, I was right. He was
they were
with the
built
he
for
was with Colorado for a good portion of his career.
okay.
Then he went to Ottawa, back to Colorado, with the Blue Jackets for a year, and then has been with Nashville the last 4 years. But anyway, back to that. The Predators bought out the final 3 years of his 7-year, $56 million contract. He
And
got
that's
paid.
a lot for the
Yeah,
NHL,
he
right?
got paid. He got paid. Um, signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Dallas Stars. And I honestly like this pickup for the Stars. He's a pretty versatile player. He's getting up there in age, but he's still a solid. He produces good amount of points each year. He can play wing and center, so I was honestly a big fan of this pickup by the Stars.
Okay.
Next, we got Bertuzzi to the Maple Leafs. That was a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. Um, he was traded to the Bruins in March of this last season and had 16 points in 21 regular season games and 10 points in the postseason in 7 postseason games. Um, also was a big fan of this deal. He's a pretty physical forward, and that's kind of what the Maple Leafs need to get over that hump. I think they're pretty obviously a very talented team, but very weak, very I don't want to. I don't this. I'm not gonna word it. They're kind of pussies, to be honest. Probably the best way I can put it. I need a guy to.
Haven't they been in the playoffs for like in like a streak of years, but haven't gone past like the second round?
Yeah, well, they did this year. They did. They got past the first round this year, but yeah, they had a long curse of
Virgo, yeah,
not being able to make it past the first round. But I think Bertuzzi's a good pickup. He wanted way more than he got, but I think they brought him in for a solid amount. I honestly think he kind of just took this 1-year deal. He's kind of betting on himself here to have a good season
and then hopefully
and looking next year to
get a
bigger
bag.
contract. Yeah,
Yeah.
but bring him in for 1 year, a talented and physical guy. I think is a good pickup for them. All right, next we got the Preds land Ryan O'Reilly, who was
And
probably
he
one
and
of
he
the
isn't he old as hell too? He played with the
yeah he's
Sabers
he's older. He's older.
and who
Tampa.
else for a
He's been
while.
with Tampa. He's been with Tampa and the Maple Leafs.
Yikes! Because I even I knew that isn't. I know he
I
has
believe
been
he's with
playing in
Tampa.
the NHL for a long time.
O'Reilly. I'll look. Yeah, he. I'll pull it up. Mm-mm-mm. So he was with. Oh, my mistake. He was not with Tampa Bay. I was thinking of Pat Maroon. My bad.
Oh, okay. It's odd.
He was with Colorado for 2, 3, 4, 6 years. Buffalo for 3. St. Louis for 5. Won a cup with them, and then Toronto for 1 this year. And so yeah, they brought him in for 4 years, the annual value of $4.5 million. Um, kind of limited this year with injury. Didn't really produce much in the regular season, but had a very solid postseason. He had 9 points in 11 games, so still producing. It was definitely a good player to bring in to replace Matt Duchene. Like I said before, they shipped him off to Dallas and pay off the rest of his contract. But I'd like to see the Preds make a little bit of a return to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Kind
say
of had
because
a couple down
didn't
years.
didn't Pecorino just retire?
Yeah, that was a while ago,
Oh, was that long
but
ago?
since then
Damn.
they haven't really done much. But I like to see them kind of have a little bit of a comeback year here, and I think bringing in O'Reilly was a good start. Next, we got the Rangers bringing in Blake Wheeler.
Cause I know he's old too. He
Yeah,
has to
yeah,
be
he is.
what?
He's 36. He's
Yeah.
36. Uh, Final year of his contract was bought up by the Jets. He signed a 1 year contract with a base salary of $800,000 and a max bonus of $300,000. And like you said, he's pretty old. His production is starting to decline. He had 55 points in 72 games this season. Nothing crazy there. I'm a fan of this signing though. It's very affordable. Um, he's surrounded by talent, bringing him into the Rangers. So though his production is declining, you got guys like Panarin and hope I don't know if Patrick Kane is a free agent right now, but if they choose to bring him
Bring
back,
him
Patty
back. Yeah.
Kane and Zibanejad, guys like that around him too.
I think the
That
Rangers are a dark horse to win the Stanley
yeah,
Cup.
I wrote that down too. This is another team that I could see to win it all. So I guess we'll see. Honestly, brought him in for
Pennies on the
pretty
dollar.
much 2 buttons in a quarter.
Yeah.
Uh, there's talent around him, so I'm hoping to see if Blake Wheeler can have a good season. Uh, 2 more. We got Alex Killorn to the Ducks. He signed for 4 years, $25 million contract with the Ducks. This contract was honestly a little too high for me. I thought they overpaid him, but he was a big part of their 2020 and 2021 back-to-back cups in Tampa Bay, and he is coming off a career best 27 goal, 64-point season. So I mean, they paid him. He probably deserves it, but it's a tad high for me. But again, I do like this signing. The Ducks are a very very young roster, and
So
him as
they
a
got
veteran,
Zegras. So they
yeah,
got
him as a
they
veteran
got players
presence
here.
is I think going to be good for them. And then last I have Jari staying with the Pens. Um, I was not a big fan of this deal.
I'm surprised they brought him
Yeah,
back. To be
I was
honest with you.
too. I'm not a big fan. They signed him on a 5 year, $26.9 million contract. Did not really like in the first place bringing him back, and I thought we paid him too much.
Mhm.
I was kind of hoping to bring in a new goalie. There, Carter Hart, Connor Hellebuck, and John Gibson were 3 guys that were available that I would have liked
I
to see us bring in. But
personally
I
out of those
mean,
three, Hellebuck is I think the
yeah,
best
the only thing
of
is
all
his,
three.
his we would have had to pay him a decent amount, and with bringing in one of those guys, we possibly wouldn't be able to get Carlson, which I'll get to later. But I don't know. When Jari's healthy, we've seen that he's good.
Mhm.
Like he is a legit, I'd say top 10 goaltender in the league. But the question is, can he stay healthy? I don't think I think he's gonna have a problem with it.
Is that because
So
I feel like DeSmith
that's my only
plays a lot for a backup goalie.
yeah. The Smith just got sent away to the Canadians. He was part of the Carlson trade actually,
Damn.
but yeah, I don't know. Not a fan of keeping Jari around for the Pens, but we'll see. If he stays healthy, I think it'll be good. But if not, then uh, it will not end in the Penguins' favor. But kind of just sticking with free agency, some notable names left. I know you've heard of some of these guys. Number one, Patty Kane is still a free agent.
Yeah, the probably the biggest one out of the bunch, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Was with the Rangers last season. Honestly, didn't have a crazy season. Didn't really do much, but still a notable name. After him, there is David Krejci. He actually just retired, but he was number two. This is off of Bleacher Report.
Okay.
Three is Thomas Tatar, who I know the Penguins were actually talking about maybe bringing him in. Any team to pick him up, I think that'd be a great pickup for them. Quick, great offensive play style. Um,
Didn't he
had a
play?
solid
Didn't
season
he
with the
play in New
Devils.
Jersey for a long ass time? Was
Yeah,
it?
was
Because
with
I
Islanders
know
for a
he's always
while.
been solid.
With the Devils this year, had a pretty solid season. Zach Parise, he's an older guy.
He's how old is that? Because he's been in the NHL for as long as I've
He's
fucking
around.
been alive.
I'm pretty sure he was in Crosby's draft class.
Yeah, exactly.
39. Never mind. He's
Freaking been
a
alive.
little bit older than Crosby actually. He's like 2 years older than Crosby.
And
But yeah, he's
Crosby's
39.
yeah, Jesus.
Um, Josh Bailey. So just there's still Phil Kessel,
I'm
Paul
surprised he's not
Stach. There's
retired
just
yet.
yeah, there's just a lot of big names still left in free agency. So I'm kind of surprised where some of those guys end up.
Mm-hmm.
But and then kind of just want to talk trades. The biggest of which probably was the Erik Karlsson trade, three-team deal between the Pens, the Sharks, and the Canadians.
I think
Penguins got what's up?
I think that as a guy who doesn't really watch much hockey and only really pays attention to the Penguins, I think this shows that the Pens aren't really too adamant on resetting and they want to keep the core around. But when as a Pens fan who's they just freaking blew a 3-1 lead to the Rangers and I don't think they didn't even make the playoffs this year. So
Yeah.
when does this team finally hit the reset button and what does that look like?
Yeah. Crosby, Malkin, Letang definitely have a time clock ticking right now. I could see all three of them play until they just physically can't anymore. So I think we
Yikes.
got a little bit of time, but the Pens are pretty much in like a win now state.
Win now,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, bringing in Carlson, possibly Tatar. There's talks of that. They're kind of like if we want to win, we gotta win now before, like you said, the big three are out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the trade. So it was Penguins got Carlson, Dylan Hamlick, Rem Pitlick, and a 2026 third-round pick. The Sharks got Mike Hoffman, Michael Granlund, John Ruda, 2024 first-round pick from Pittsburgh. And then the Canadians got Petrie, who they actually just sent away to Detroit, Casey DeSmith, Nathan Laguerre, and a 2025 second-round pick from the Penguins. So, kind of just wanted to break this down from all three teams. Penguins, I think, are the for sure winners in this trade. Obviously, bringing in Carlson, who's a great defenseman, I think is going to be a great fit for this team, and I think
I was even surprised when Ottawa sent him away. Like I thought
yeah,
he was
yeah,
he's top tier. Like he's one of the
yeah,
best.
yeah. He had a very solid season with the Sharks. Penguins got rid of Granlund, Ruda, and DeSmith to clear up some cap space for him, so that wasn't a problem. Did send off some pretty high draft picks, but I mean, personally, I'm not a big believer in draft picks.
Because
It's kind of unless you got like a Connor Bedard level prospect.
then keep the pick, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, but
how many Connor Bedards are
yeah.
there gonna be
So
a draft
wasn't
class?
too butthurt by them sending that away. So I think overall the Pens won this trade. Then I'd probably say Sharks probably second, bringing or excuse me, Canadians second, bringing back Petrie, who played for them for a while, but I'm surprised they actually sent him. I'm not sure what they got from Detroit, but Casey Smith, solid back can be a solid backup goaltender, and then Nathan Laguerre is a solid forward, and then that second round pick in 2025 will be nice. And then left the Sharks, Hoffman's an older forward, Granlund from the Pens and Ruda from the Pens. Both are they're okay. They're mediocre. Nothing too crazy. I think the best thing the Sharks got out of this was our first round pick next year.
Yep.
But overall, kind of been a pretty interesting off season in the NHL.
Yes, I gotta start trying, at least
Yeah,
attempting to watch a little bit of hockey.
I'm gonna try and get into soccer more. I'm gonna try and get Aidan into hockey more. But
Oh yeah.
kind of to shift to our last segment in the video, kind of wanted to just talk a little bit of golf. Obviously, the BMW Championship is coming up, starting tomorrow actually. Players will be competing for a spot in the Tour Championship the following week, and we're going to cover more post-tournament stuff on Tuesday. But we just kind of wanted to give our future future winners here to end the video. So I'll go to you first. Who are you thinking here to win the BMW Championship?
So out of like all the golf, I mean, like we always watch the matches every year. You guys always come over and we all watch the matches
Yeah,
every year. There's always golf tournaments on. I feel like out of all the golfers I've seen, I feel like Scotty Scheffler and Matsuyama are the best golfers I've seen, like I've ever
yeah,
watched. Besides Tiger, obviously, but it's Tiger.
yeah.
So I feel like Scotty Scheffler is, in the running to win this championship. So that is my pick.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna go out on like a little bit of a limb here. I'm a big Victor Hovland guy. Really like him. Shot 10 under in his, I think the last one he played was the FedEx St. Jude Cup, something like whatever that's called. Shot 10 under, tied for 13th. Played pretty well in his last 5 starts, so I think he's due here, and I'm thinking he's gonna come away with the win here. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm excited to see how it plays out. I'll be watching for the rest of the week, and yeah, like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit more on Tuesday. But
Honestly, I don't think golf
well,
like as I've gotten older, I feel like golf isn't really that bad to watch. Like I can sit
yeah,
down and watch like a couple
yeah, yeah, for
couple
sure,
shots.
for sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we digested a lot here.
It's that was that was a,
Unbox,
that was a long
unbox,
that was a long ass
yeah,
episode.
we unboxed a lot here. So we'll give you guys the rest of the week to take that all in, and we'll be back Tuesday. So thank you guys for watching. It's been Sam Capola and Aidan Totten, and would you like to hit him with the outro?
This has been Agree to Disagree Sports Podcast. Stay thirsty, my friend.